So, as you know, Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO, likes to tweet out misinformation nonstop, a steady stream on a daily basis. I can't possibly go through every single one of his tweets because, frankly, it's too much. But every now and then, I'll say, fine, I'll go down that rabbit hole and go with it with you because essentially, we need to, dissect what misinformation is, how to avoid it, how to detect it, and how not to get caught up in it. Because to be perfectly frank, a lot of people get caught up in Elon Musk's misinformation because it's if you turn your brain off, it's so easy to fall for it. I'll be perfectly frank, and a lot of people do. So here's an example of one. This is Elon Musk. He says, "There is no excuse. Please post the list of people who opposed this law and want to keep illegals who are convicted sex offenders in America. They all need to be voted out of office, every one of them," right? And he's interacting with this account, Mario Nawfal. And basically, the idea is like, okay, Democrats are weak on crime, and how could they not want to pass this particular bill? Is it's going to protect everyone, right? Like, you're a fool if you don't pass this bill. But you have to understand like how our system works, okay? If you don't understand how it works, then you're just going to fall for Musk's trap. And this is what a lot of the accounts do that are supporting him. They tweet out these kind of memes, right? Like this. No one, and I mean no one, has done more to harm America than Democrats, right? They're so bad. Or you'll have this kind of meme. Democrats, when you say anything negative against pedophilia, rah, they get angry, right? Like pull out the pitchforks. And I'll just say this, guys, not everything is necessarily is what it appears. You have to understand who's writing the bill, right? Why they're writing the bill, and what's in the bill. Like that's sort of our system. If you don't know, a bill is essentially a proposal for a new law. In this particular case, it's Nancy Mace, right? And I looked up who she is, and that's sort of, again, who's writing the bill, etc. This is her, and it's actually really funny because when you look up her education, it's like undergrad at Citadel, and she has a master's degree from Georgia in like PR, public relations, journalism, that kind of stuff. And she's basically a PR person. That's essentially what her background is. And when she first started, and she's new to Congress, many of her staffers turn over, like they quit. There were several staffers who gave interviews about her, and like, saying that she always wanted the spotlight. And one person even said that, is this a PR firm or is this, a working member of Congress? And so essentially she had a guidebook that would be like, telling her staff to get her on national TV every single day. So you have to understand like who's writing the bill, and that's the kind of person that she is. In fact, she one day she wore this T-shirt because she wanted to get a bunch of interviews that day on TV with a big A on it. This is her right here, and then trying to get as much attention as possible. So it's funny when I told my wife about this, she's like, yeah, some people are more in it just to be a star, right? Just to be on TV. She'll pick fights with people so she can go on Fox News and talk about how bad the Democrats are, that kind of stuff. And going back to the original point with Musk thing is like, well, how could anyone vote against this law? So one thing is that's important to understand when you make a bill, you want to write the language so that it's like crystal clear. You want to write it so that it makes sense and does what it says it's going to do. Sometimes for something like, is it Mace is her name? She'll do like a messaging bill. Well, what's a messaging bill? It's a bill that just to get your name in the headlines, get your name in the news. You'll title the bill, like the title of the bill will be something like, really clear, and it'll make it seem like if you're against it, then you're against said issue. So let me give an example. So let's say I wrote a bill and the bill was called Protect the Children, right? And I introduce it, and then if people vote against my bill or say bad things in my bill, I can just say, what? You don't want to protect the children? Don't you love children? I mean, children are the most fundamental part of our world. Like, how could you vote against this bill, Protect the Children, right? Do you guys see what I'm saying? So by naming the bill, or you could name the bill, Save the Puppies, right? How can you not want to save the puppies? I mean, don't you love puppies? Don't you hate puppies? You're a bad person. And so it's funny because I was reading this sort of a breakdown of why you would oppose her bill, and I get to that moment there, but you have to understand what a messaging bill is, right? It's just there to get attention. There is a member of Congress named Jerry Nadler. He's been in this game a long time. I think he's like 77, pretty old. This is him right here. I think his undergrad is Columbia, so Ivy League, and then he's got a law degree from Fordham, right? You can see it right here. So he's a lawyer. He's smart. He's been doing this game a long time. Basically, according to him, when he read the bill, he said, we're actually for the idea of your bill, and in this situation was to, protect people from domestic violence. Like, no one's really, for domestic violence. Like, we're all against it. Like, he even said it. Like, let's agree. Like, we're all against domestic violence, but it doesn't necessarily mean your bill is a good bill. And the thing that he said is like the bill that Mace introduced, the one that Musk is, saying, why don't Democrats vote for it? It was redundant, meaning we already have laws on the books that do what the bill does, right? So you don't actually need the law, or the new bill, I should say. The other thing that it is that it's sloppily written, and the way that you could, define certain terms in it, is just too broad. And it's so broad, in fact, that it would actually include in, say, the situation of a domestic violence or a sex crime. It could include the victim, could be part of the, I could say, get the penalties of the bill, be it deported, kicked out, right? So they made this thing too broad. And when you understand this kind of stuff, why someone would vote against the bill, it's not that they're against the issue that you're trying to promote. It's just that you didn't write the bill very well. The other issue as well is like this particular person. Let me show you a picture here. Mace. She's actually, it's interesting. She was included a list of top 10 thirstiest members of Congress. So these are the ones out there that it's Democrat and the Republican. There's some on both sides that are just in it to get their name in the headlines all of the time. Like I said, you have to understand who's writing the bills and why. And it's fascinating that Musk picks this particular person to promote. And to give you an idea of the kind of person she is, on January 6th, she was actually talking to her staff members on how could she get punched in the face and get on national TV. That's the kind of person she is, right? Please help me get punched in the face. Please help me become a star. It's very interesting. It's essentially he picks the circus people. She even in her campaign, she referred to herself as a caucus of one. Again, her staffers, are like, hey, are we working in a PR firm for you, or are you a working member of Congress? And so I wanted to sort of introduce discussion to you to understand how this stuff is played, right? This is effectively, this is communication / politics. It's a PR game. It's a TV show. And a lot of people fall for it. And it's hard, I'll be honest with you. It's hard to have discussions with anyone about this stuff if the other person that you're talking to is illiterate. It's like, what can you do, right? If they don't even understand the words that you're saying because their reading level is too low. And I laugh, but that's kind of what we're dealing with, to be honest. And then what Elon Musk does essentially then is play a con game on you. People like Elon because they say, wow, Elon Musk is really, really rich. So therefore, when he says that we're going to have robot cars and we're going to go to Mars, and all his new vehicles are going to fly and they're going to have unlimited range, he's really rich. So therefore, it must be correct. And that's the scam, right? The scam is you're promoting stuff that's not exactly what it appears to be, and you're playing the con game, and people trust you just because you're rich. And you can keep perpetuating that scam, I guess, as long as people believe it. And it's essentially a Ponzi / pyramid. So I just wanted to give you a little, introduction of sort of how his misinformation works, the kind of people he supports, and why you don't necessarily believe everything that you see from him. Every time I dig into one of these things, it's always the same. It ends up being some sort of misinformation, wild goose chase. And I feel, for frank, really frustrated, but I still got to put these out there just so you guys understand what game is being played and don't get played by the game. So thanks again for watching, everyone. And I'll catch you on the next video.